Alright, ladies and gentlemen, of course you know once again the phantom voice behind the camera. My name is Eric Lovely, and as you know me, I am always, as people know, the logical hardline constitutionalist. And we're here once again for another interview with another great individual. At least that's my personal opinion. And it is August the 14th of 2010. This is the Restore the Constitution rally, and this is the Watchman.biz. Now, the gentleman with us, and I'm going to go ahead and make a blunder on video, but since you guys are used to it, is it Mitzel? Mitzel. It's Bob Mitzel, and I would have to say one of the people who really got thrown into the fire, who really helped this thing come together. And you know, we wanted to make sure that we talk to these men because, as you've heard in each video, we here at the station, you hear Doc talk about it all the time, you hear me on the bandwagon and I talk about it all the time. We classify human beings into two groups: doers and talkers. And we've had enough of talkers, and what we're trying to do here today is introduce you to the doers. If you want, you know, these interviews that we're doing for you guys and we're showing you is because everybody asks us and we get sick of it. We get sick of hearing, well, how about some solutions? How about telling us how to make this happen and how to do things? And you know, so today, instead of listening to me and Doc run our giblets, we're showing you some of the people that we actually are looking up to and looking towards, because I mean, a lot of you guys, you know, you send me emails and you're always putting praise and so forth on us, and I don't view what I do as in the mix as much as these gentlemen and ladies who are out here. So the biggest thing that I want to introduce is Bob, as someone that definitely in the short period of time that I've talked to him, to me, he's a doer. If you want to see some of the people who I look up to, the people that I pat on the back, these are the gentlemen that to me really make this happen. And so we wanted to start out by just letting you introduce yourself, since you are a new face to the Watchman.biz, and maybe just talk a little bit about yourself first and some things that you're interested in, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, my name is Bob Mitzel. Sort of the ad hoc leader of two groups. We've got the Roswell Second Amendment Task Force, and we've got the Chavez County Tea Party here in New Mexico. You know, Eric said that him and Doc aren't really the people behind things, but if it weren't for people like him and Doc and some of the other patriot people out there that's running these sites, you wouldn't be hearing from people like us. And one thing I think I can pretty much say for the majority of the people I deal with, and I've had the good fortune dealing with a lot of good patriots around the country, originally back east, is that it's not about us. That's the thing that I hear from everybody. You know, I'm doing this for my grandkids, my kids. I would love to be able to sit here and say that, yeah, we're going to win this battle and it'll be over before my time is, but I don't know if I can say that or not. But our feelings are, is, and I'm speaking for a lot of us because there's a lot of people involved in this situation, that we're doing this for our kids and our grandkids. We want to have a country left like we grew up in. And I know you hear Eric's voice more than you see him, but you know, he's quite a bit younger than I am. I grew up in a time when you could walk down the side of the road, walk into a hardware store you couldn't even see over top the counter of, and slap 50 cents down that you got from collecting the bottles, and they give you a box of 22 shells, and you went out and had fun for the day. You didn't get stopped, you didn't get harassed, you didn't have people wondering what you were doing with a gun at 5, 6 years old, because that was the norm. And I'd like to see that restored for the people that's coming after us. And that's what we're all about. We need to get this country back to a reasonable, sensible form of government, which is the Constitution. We need to get politicians up there that believe in the Constitution.
And one of the big things, you know, I always, whenever we bring someone new in, a lot of people, you know, I don't know what it is that drives them to do, but I guess with the Second Amendment group that you have pretty much generated or been one of the master generators of, people like to know, one, a little bit about maybe what your background is and why you decided to not just take up a freedom of speech group, but to actually take up a Second Amendment group, the right to keep and bear arms. You know, I think it takes a special kind of man, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about your background and a little bit about the organization that you are, I would say, one of the founders of, and one of the key roles and what you do. And, you know, because there may be people in other states who are really interested in something like that. So maybe give us a little bit of your background and tell us a little bit more about the Second Amendment group and its name and where they can find information about it.
Okay, that's easy enough. You've always heard the term, you know, people saying, well, I cut my teeth on this and I cut my teeth on that, you know, when they're talking about what they do for a living or whatever. I literally did cut my first tooth on the barrel of a pistol. My dad was in the Second World War. He had malaria. They brought him in one night, and at that time the doctor came to the house. You didn't have hospitals and clinics to run to. And my dad worked nights at a gas station at that point in the hills in Pennsylvania. And they took his pistol belt off, laid down there, and it was just enough I could gnaw on. And I was just a little thing crawling around the floor, and they heard something scraping and looked around, and I was sitting there chewing on the barrel, just happy it could be. So I literally did cut my first tooth on the Second Amendment, basically. You know, it was, and that's a true story. That's nothing that's, you know, so I've had this all my life. My grandfather, my father, my uncles, you know, as I said, we're from Pennsylvania. I mean, hunting was a way of life. Before you're too big to carry a gun, we were the puppy dogs. You know, we were in the fields from the time we was big enough we could run in front of the guys that was putting stuff out. So it's a deep-rooted love. I mean, it's, from the personal side of it, you know, again, I'm looking forward to my kids and grandkids and everybody else's kids and grandkids, and they can have that same kind of life, because to me, there's nothing as wonderful as being able to walk out somewhere and go out and enjoy the outdoors. And it's not about what you can shoot or what you can kill. You know, some of the best times I've ever had is when being out hunting and I didn't get a thing. You know, it's just being out there and enjoying it.
And maybe describe for us a little bit more about, now, I don't remember exactly the name, so maybe you could provide the name of the group for us, but tell us a little bit about the Second Amendment group before we get into our last two questions, which may be a little tougher, but I think he's going to handle them just fine. But let's first take the Second Amendment group that you're part of, and maybe how they can find out more information, or where they can go to find out more information about it.
Okay, we're the Roswell Second Amendment Task Force, and at the last count there's 3 or 4 more groups, and they're all Second Amendment groups, but we're a loose-knit organization. Each group sets up their own guidelines, how they want their group to go. You know, our main guidelines is we do a lot of education. We give out Constitution books, and we go through hundreds and hundreds of Constitution books. In fact, that's one of our biggest expenses, because everywhere we go, when you see some of the shots at the rally later in the day, we've got boxes of Constitution books sitting on our tables, and they're free for anybody that wants one. And it's the Roswell Second Amendment Task Force out of Roswell, New Mexico. And if you want to go on the web and check out the website, it's Roswell, the number 2, atf.com.org or .net. If you don't remember, hit any one of the 3, it'll all take you to the same website. And
I guess for the last 2 fielded questions, the first one will be easier than the last one. But the first one is that a lot of people, they always say, well, you know, we've heard a lot of excuses. I can go because of this, or I can't go because of this, and I can't take part because of this. Just on your own personal basis, you yourself, why are you here today on August 14th, 2010 at Restore the Constitution?
Well, a lot of it goes back to just what I've already said. You know, we're losing our country. And from my personal opinion, and you'll hear a lot of different speeches today, and some of them are going to differ with my opinion. But my opinion is a lot of the reason we're in troubled days because we went from a work for what you get society to a I deserve to have everything give to me that I can get give to me. Nobody wants to get out there and actually have to work for something. And when you don't work for it, you don't appreciate it.
Well, believe it or not, in every interview, that's pretty much the exact response that everybody's given so far.